few years ago. Our new house seemed a little dark, and it was still chilly in the middle of summer. And after moving into the house, my family conspicuously began to act a little strange. One day, my parents were in the living room sitting and watching TV, and something was weird. My dad was laughing with his eyes and mouth wide open. Ha ha ha, laughing like this. And my mom was giggling like crazy. However, I was very young at that time, so I would often copy that figure, thinking that was kind of play for adults. And another day, they would have a conversation lying down at the kitchen table. Should we go now? No, later. No, we should go now. Something like this. I began to get scared and decided to try some sort of exorcising spells that were popular in my elementary school at the time. It was a way to shout, "Go away, you lala," 3 times before going to bed. I know it's kind of childish, but anyway, it was one night after I did this a few more times. I was about to sleep, and as soon as I lay down after turning off the lights, my parents came into my room. I felt something was not good, and being scared, I was in my bed covering my face. And they sat next to my bed, one by one. Dad sat in that narrow gap between the bed and the balcony door and whispered in my ear, "What was that? Why did you do that?" He kept whispering the same thing, and I had no choice but to pretend to be asleep with fear. Long after, I heard the door open, and when I opened my eyes to see if my parents had left, there was my mother. She was kneeling on my desk and smiling widely at me. Screaming, I ran out of the house on that road, fainted after a long run on the road, and was eventually found by the police passing by. After that, we had received help from our relatives and moved to a new apartment. One day, I had a nightmare while I was sleeping. Just realizing that I had sleep paralysis, I squeezed my voice and called my wife. And she immediately ran from my side. "Honey, are you okay?" I replied to her, Take my hand." However, the left door opened suddenly, and I could see my wife was running toward me at that moment. She held my hand, asking if I was okay, and I felt a moment of anxiety. So I turned my head to the right with all my might. The woman who ran at me at first, she was not my wife, of course. She was looking at me, dancing strangely on the spot, and jumping beside me as if she got too excited. My wife soon turned on the lights, and as soon as the lights came on, she disappeared from sight. Who was that woman? The woman in front of my window. It was the middle of the night. I was choosing my clothes for the next day's appointment. After picking out some of my clothes, I was looking at the mirror with them and suddenly heard a sound from the window. It was like someone clicked their tongue. When I looked at the window, there was a woman laughing with her face pressed down on the screen. I walked back in fear, quickly turned off the light. Then I woke up my dad, who was sleeping at that time. However, when we came back to the room, the woman was already gone. What's even scarier was that our house had its own yard, and it was on the other side of the houses in town. How did she get into our house and stand in front of my window? Whether she was a human or a ghost, I still have no idea who she was.